guys, and welcome back to this week's vlog. And in today's vlog it is a 2022 winter evening routine. So you guys will have already seen the morning routine. It's been filmed on the same day. I filmed it this morning. Hope you enjoyed that. This is what I do every single evening, so I hope you enjoy. So the horses come in any time between 3:30 and 5:30. Sometimes if I'm doing something, they do come in later. It just kind of depends what I'm doing, but normally it is any time between 3:30 and 5:30. So as you can see, they're out in the field, but when they realise that I'm sorting them out, they eventually come up. Right, so Dan and Dawn have been in because there's been shooting on today. So this was all swept out, which you guys will have seen in the morning routine. This was all swept up. But obviously, because they've both been in, they've been in for quite a few hours, it's obviously messed it all up. So I'm going to quickly sweep this part back up so it looks tidy again. And then tomorrow it will look like this, worse than this. The haylage buckets. So normally when I take the buckets out in the morning, they normally stay in our hay barn, and then I fill up the haylage in the evening ready for them to come in. But today, because of the shooting, which was very unexpected, we've obviously had to give them haylage, so it's still in here. The ponies have only been out for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. But in the last vlog, my morning routine, you would have known that I emptied out the water, so I've got to fill that up. I put just a little bucket in for today while they was in. So the first thing I do is pick up the haylage that they've dropped on the floor when they were in, and as you can see, there is actually quite a bit. And then over in the corner there was some haylage that was wet, so obviously I didn't put that in the bucket, so I swept that out, which you guys will see in a minute. Now, it really annoys me when the horses are in and then mess their bed up when it was all nicely swept up and it looked nice. So they've done a poo, and then I swept up the stable so it looked clean and tidy like it did in the morning when I mucked it out. And then somehow they managed to get little bits of poo on the rubber matting, like it wasn't actually like a full poo. That was all Dan. Surprisingly, Dawn didn't make any mess. It's normally always her, but they were probably in for about 3 hours while the shooting was going on. So I'm sweeping up. My dog gets in the way. That is actually the story of her life. So as you guys might know, because I've mentioned it in a lot of my vlogs, but we leave the stable doors open all year round when the horses go out, just so that they can come in out of the rain and wind in the winter. We're also lucky that we have a lot of natural shelter, the trees, so if they are out in the field they can get out of the rain and the wind, but we still like to leave the stable doors open. And they are open in the summer as well to get away from the heat and the flies. And some days the horses don't even bother going in, but some days they do. But it's really strange because they can get in out of the rain, and Dan doesn't particularly like the rain, but he stands out in it. He's such a weirdo, whereas Dawn would rather be in. Like, she likes to go out, but she's happy to just go out for like 20 minutes and then she likes to go in. But she doesn't like going in her own stable. She likes to be in Danny's stable. So there I was just taking out the bit of haylage that they must have pulled into their bed or something. God knows, with the pair of them. Now I'm sweeping up where all the wet haylage was and around the little bit that is a bit minging to go in the bed where they've been standing on all of the shavings, etc. And now it's time to put it in the poop scoop and take it to the muck heap. There's Dawny, she's just like, feed me. So once I've put all the tools away, like the poop scoop and the sweeping brush, and then it's the horses' favourite time of the day is getting their dinners ready. So in a minute you'll start to see that Dan will wander up from the field. He wasn't far anyway. He likes to keep an eye on me and watch what I'm doing, and then he comes over and stand at the fence, but you guys will see that in a minute. But first of all, before I actually put their food in the buckets, I need to wash them out, because as you see in Dawn's one there is a leaf, so I give it a quick swirl to make sure all of the food and everything's out, and then I just chuck it out. So Danny and Dawn get fed the same in the evening as the morning, but they have treats in the evening, and they also have their supplements. So here I'm putting in their turmeric. They both have a full scoop each. And then it's the Omega Equine Glucosamine Balancer. Again, they have a scoop each. Then I was struggling to put the lid on. Then I give it a good mix around, because the horses, I can't let them know that they have turmeric, else they won't eat it, so I have to really cover it up. Then a full scoop of chaff for Dan, and then a little bit of chaff, basically the same as the morning. And then it's time to put some treats in. So because we've just had Christmas, I've got lots of different treats for them. So they've had Christmas treats, polos, stud muffin, then they have their apples, and I also give them carrots. Every evening they get carrots and apples, even before Christmas. It's just since Christmas they've had their treats. I've been putting that in their dinner. This is me being very bright and not letting all of the carrots at once go in one bucket. Then give it a good mix around. And what I like to do is I like to hide the carrots, because Dan expects a carrot and an apple in his bowl every single night. So when it's like hidden under his food, he's got to really like look for it, and it's like he wonders if he's got any or not. It's really funny to watch him. Then to give him some water, again, like I mentioned in the morning routine, it's to stop them from getting choked, because I have experienced that before with one of my other ponies, and also to make sure that they're having enough water. Then, before I feed, much to Dan's disgust, it's time to put on Danny's magnetic brushing boots, stable boots. These are the Bioflow ones. He has them on every single night, but before I put them on, I need to pick out his feet, because as you guys know, Dan has had a thrush. I want to say had. I've got the farrier coming this weekend, so I'll find out if it's gone, but his foot is looking absolutely amazing. So I need to make sure that all the mud and everything is out of all four of his feet. Then it's time to put his boots on. And normally I do it in the stable. I kind of do it wherever, but because I'm filming it, I wanted you guys to be able to see in the light. So I actually done it properly, guys, and tied up and done it out in the daylight. Then I obviously had to take his overreach boots off. Then it was time to lead him in, and I took the overreach boots into his stable, because that is where I keep them. Then the ponies will be happy, because after this they will eventually get their dinner. So I obviously take his head collar off. He likes to have a little look. Then it's time to hang up the overreach boots. I've got a bit of string there. Then obviously shut the door, and then I want to check his temperature, because I didn't know if he'd be a bit too cold, but he was completely fine. He was lovely and toasty, so I didn't need to worry about putting another rug on him. I obviously then give him his dinner, go and get Dawn's. Now Dawn, you wouldn't think this is her routine every single night. It's hard to get her in her stable without putting the food bowl in there first. You wouldn't think we've had her 3 years. Anyway, now time to take out Dawn's hay bucket and take out the water that I put in the morning, because I actually brought it in from outside. Now time to do the hay. Now it probably is quite confusing for you guys, because 1 minute they're on hay, the other minute they're on haylage. Basically, we're trying to get both of them onto hay. So it was about a week ago we went with our trailer and picked up 10 bales of hay, and Dan went on it the first night, and the next morning he started coughing. So we took him off it straight away. That has been our problem. We have tried lots of different places for hay, and he just seems to be coughing on it. We have been soaking it for him, but he just will not eat it soaked. But on the other hand, Dawn is absolutely fine. She doesn't cough on it. So we keep Dawn on the hay, because she was on the haylage, but she doesn't need haylage. There's too much sugar. So we want to put her on the hay. But sometimes we might give her a little bit of haylage just for like a treat for her. But she seems to prefer the hay more than the haylage, which is quite strange. But I don't know if Dan's got some kind of allergy to hay, because no matter what hay we get for him, he just seems to be coughing on it. So I think he will be staying on haylage full time, unless we can find something that he's not actually going to cough on. Then it's time to fill up his water. So this big bucket takes 2.5 of the small buckets to fill it up, and I like to fill it up right to the brim, because as you guys know, we live half an hour away from Danny and Dawn, so you never know on the roads. There could be an accident or diversion, which then means that we are going to be a little bit later than normal. So knowing that they have plenty of water and more haylage than they actually need, it makes me feel better knowing that they will still have something, because 9 times out of 10 there is haylage on the floor what Dan's wasted, and that's what I prefer to have, because if you guys don't feed your horses enough and let them go hours without eating anything, it can cause ulcers, and obviously I don't want to have that problem with Dan or Dawn. Now it's time to soak some food ready for the next day, so I do them 3 big full scoops. This is the Pure Feeds mash. It's actually meant to be for Dawn because it's got nothing fattening in there for her. It's just nice and sloppy for her because of her age, but Dan seems to like it, so we give it to Dan anyway. And they're both on the Pure Feeds chaff as well, but Dawn only has a tiny bit because she doesn't really need it. It's just to get her to eat her dinner. Now getting my water out and then fill it up, and as you can see it bubbles, but you've got to make sure that you put plenty of water in, because right now it looks like it's enough water, but in a minute it absorbs it and all the water goes down and then it won't soak properly. So I make sure they've got plenty of water in there. This food is meant to only take 20 minutes, but I think because we put 3 scoops in there, it takes longer than that. So we could do it in the morning, but if you just do it the night before, obviously it's so much easier and the horses don't have to wait even longer for their breakfast or dinner. Putting the lid on, making it nice and secure, and then just put the water on top so it's out of the way. Now it's time to give Dan his haylage. So as you would have seen at the start of this video, Dan had some haylage in the other bucket, so I kept that in his stable, and I'm going to fill this bucket right up to the top and then put a little bit extra in, so that when I take this blue bucket into his stable, I'll take some haylage out of it and put it into the other bucket that's got, I think it's about half full. So just give him that. So now he's got 2 full buckets. And then I check on Dawny. As you can see, Dawn's got her hay. She's still eating her food. Her stable's clean. There's a bit of food where she spilled it in her bed. And she's got water as well. Same goes for Dan. He's got a nice clean bed. 2 big full buckets of haylage, his water, and he's eating his dinner with his boots on and his feet picked out. So now I just have to wait for Dawn to finish, and then I go and get her bowl out. And this particular night, Dawn decided that she wanted to put her foot in the food bowl, and as I tried to get her foot out, she was not having it. She was just like, no, I'm staying stationary, I am not helping you out. So I struggled getting Dawn's foot out of her bowl, but I eventually done it, and then I brought it out. She was being so awkward. But that is it for the horses. They're now all done to the morning. Right, see you both in the morning. Love you lot. Have a good night's sleep, and I'll see you in the morning. Bye, bye, bye. So, guys, that is the end of both the 2022 routines, morning and evening. I hope you've enjoyed both of them. Please make sure that you like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.